Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Do I have lipstick on my teeth? No. Why? It's a miracle. I know I look a bit different today. Makeup was not working for me, so I put on lashes and a weird lipstick, and we're going to talk about my must-have brushes. So it's quite an important video and I really kind of wish that I looked better for it, but I mean... So first of all, we're going to start with face brushes. I get asked this all the time. What are my most used, my most recommended brushes? So the face brushes that I recommend are these. These are the brushes that I would save in a house fire. So like I did with my eyeshadow, I'll link that video wherever it gets linked. My must-have eye makeup. This is my must-have brushes, so if there's a house fire, these are the brushes that I would try and save were that to be a priority in a house fire. I'm going to start with foundation brushes. So there's only two foundation brushes I'll use. I always use a sponge, like 99.9% of the time I will use a sponge to apply my foundation. But if I do use a brush, there are two that I use. My favourite one is the Blank Canvas F41. Which looks like this. They've got lots of different colour handles. This one is the pink one, and it's this lovely shape where it's kind of flattish. It's really super soft, it's super fluffy. It's a really, really nice shape for blending out stick or liquid foundations. Blank Canvas is an Irish brand, so this would be €15, or on Cloud 10 Beauty, it seems to be where I find a lot of Blank Canvas brushes, because Beauty Bay do stock them, but they're often quite out of stock. So Cloud 10 Beauty, I'm looking at my notes, I took notes for this, it would be £13.20. But it's a really good brush for foundation. And then the other one I'd recommend is the classic Real Techniques buffing brush. It's actually what I use to apply my foundation today. I'm wearing the Morphe foundation, not the right shade for me. We're ignoring my face, we're talking about brushes. This is a classic brush. This sets you back $8.99. Sometimes the Real Techniques you can only get them in a set, sometimes you get them individually. Pretty sure you get this individually. This though is a limited edition one, but they're usually like orange handled, I'm pretty sure. So those are the two brushes I'd recommend if you like brushes for foundations. And then sponges, obviously, much better in my opinion. So for applying face powder, I have two brushes as well. My favourite brush in the world is the BH Cosmetics Studio Pro number 2. It is this big, rounded, fluffy, super soft, lovely brush. This is so cheap, it's £7. It is currently out of stock on Beauty Bay right now, which is a real shame, but I'm sure it'll come back into stock. There is a very similar one. It is called the, where have I put it? V1 Vegan Large Powder Brush. I will link everything down below, which is only $4.95, and it's very similar to this brush. So if you like the shape of this and you can't get it because it's still out of stock, go for the V1. I've also got that. This is just the one I prefer. Very good quality for £7, like that's so cheap. And then if you like to set your under eyes or smaller areas of your face with powder and with a brush, and not with a sponge, then the one I recommend is the Zoeva 105 Luxe Highlight Brush. So obviously it's a highlighting brush, however this for me just fits perfectly under the eyes, around the crevices of your nose or on your eyelid, just to set it in place. This brush is £13. Zoeva are kind of high, low. I don't know how to, they're not super expensive, but they're not cheap, but they're not super expensive. And often I find that if you, excuse me, if you see quite a few Zoeva brushes that you like, it's much better value to buy a set. So sets can be anything from like £30 to, I think their most expensive is like £200, but it's much better value buying a set of their brushes than a single brush. But if you do just want a single brush, just buy a single brush. This would be £13 and it's just incredible. I do use it for highlight sometimes, and honestly sometimes I use it for contour as well. So actually this is a really good versatile brush. and I would highly recommend it. Okay, so for blush, this is a bit annoying because my very favourite blush brush is from the Morphe Grandmasters brush collection, which is not available. I think it must have been limited edition, which I didn't realise when I bought this set, because I actually tried not to buy limited edition stuff because then I can't really use it on my channel that much because you can't get it anymore. But this is my favourite brush for applying highlights, like this lovely tulip shape, and the Grandmaster set is incredibly good quality. So maybe if you can find someone selling it on like Depop or something, I would definitely grab it. But this, I don't even remember how much these were. I think these were maybe £60 for a set of a lot of brushes. But my alternative is this Zoeva brush, which is the Zoeva 101 Luxe Face Definer. I actually used this today to apply my blush. Again, it is a very similar shape. It's a bit chunkier, a bit heavier, a bit denser. This is more fluffy, which is why I like it, because I feel like it applies it more sheer. But this is a really, really good blush brush, and it's what I was using before I got this. This one is Zoeva 101, £20. So you can see there's a bit, you know, they can be quite pricey for an individual brush, but it's a really, really good quality brush, and I would highly recommend it, especially because you can't even get this anymore. Apart from this, the one I used to use a lot was the Real Techniques blush brush. I just don't like Real Techniques brushes that much anymore. Like, I just feel like these were really, really great starter brushes for me, and don't get me wrong, clearly I still use some in my collection, but these are more now just kept as backups. If these are like super dirty, I'll use this one to apply my blush, but I just feel like these, the quality of these just doesn't compare to the quality of Zoeva. But they are good brushes. But you know, I'm trying to tell you my favourite brushes, not just brushes that I like, you know what I mean? So those are the blush brushes. It's hard to say blush brushes that I would recommend. Am I acting odd in this video? I did just have a diazepam. Okay, highlighter. What have we got? So my ultimate favourite highlighter brush is the Nabla highlighter brush. Now again, this was limited edition, which I did not realise. I think this was about £12 or £13. It is the perfect little size for putting that highlight on. I love it so much. But it's limited edition, you can't get it anymore. So the other ones that I really love are the Morphe M501. This is one that I've had for like 2 years. And this is the one that came in the Morphe Grandmaster set. So it's in a bit better condition. Why is everything so bright? I don't know why my screen is so bright. That is the shape. They're just like mini kind of tulip shaped brushes. I do find they're really good quality. Like I said, this one is years old now and it's still going strong. It's obviously more splayed and a little bit kind of worse for where looking, but it's still soft and applies highlight perfectly. This is just the same brush but from the Grandmaster set. Again, this one just fits so beautifully where you need to highlight, on your nose, anywhere. It's a great brush. This one is £9. However, for highlighting my body, I quite often highlight like my collarbones and my shoulder blades and things. I like a bigger, fatter brush. This is the Blank Canvas F15. This would set you back again on Cloud 10 Beauty. This would be £13.20 again. And I just find that it's much bigger, so it's much easier to do like bigger areas of your body, you know, like as opposed to this size. I sometimes use this for my face as well. In fact, I used it today to highlight my face, but this is more what I would use for my body highlighting. I just thought I would mention it because it is a favourite brush and I love it so much. For bronzer, this is probably the best value brush. This is a BH Cosmetics V3 brush, and this is like an angled brush that slopes down. This one is so cheap. This is it £4 or £4.95? Let me check. Sorry that I have to keep looking over there, but I can't remember this off the top of my head. This is £4 and this has so quickly become my favourite bronzer brush. It's it's dense, but it's not too dense. So I feel like when you swipe it on, it's just so gentle and soft and just disperses product so beautifully. And it also, like, you know, fits in your temples well, fits on your forehead nicely. It's £4 and it's incredible quality. The BH Cosmetics brushes that I've tried so far are really, really good quality. On the other end of the scale, the brush that I would definitely save, because this is one that I use most days, is the ABH A20 brush, which you can see is much fatter, it's much thicker. It's actually very similar to the Zoeva 101, which I use for blush, but this one is a bit fatter. This brush though is going to set you back £36. So what I would do instead of getting this is get this one and use this for bronzer if you love this kind of shape. However, this one, there's just something about it, the density of the brush, the softness of the bristles. This is when you want to just sweep on like a dusting of bronzer and have it look really natural, or pack it on. This brush is incredible and I would save it in a house fire because it's very precious to me. I use it most days. It's just such a great brush. Maybe you'll be like, well, you don't use it in many of your videos, and it's because it's £36 and I don't think that's affordable in any way at all for one brush, but I do think it is such good quality and I love it so much. My favourite brush then for contouring my face and looking less like a potato, I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm so washed out, I can't get the lighting right on my camera, is the ABH A23, which is a very kind of famous classic highlight brush. However, I use this for contouring every single day. I don't know why. I think it's just because it's just the perfect little shape. Fits right under there, and then I'll squeeze it together, do it under my chin, get my jaw. It's incredible. It's pretty expensive. This is, how much? £26. But it is a very classic, famous brush at this point. It's great for highlight too, but for contour, this is my favourite brush. But then for nose contouring, my favourite is the Blank Canvas E42, which is this tiny little tapered, super soft brush, which I feel like puts on my nose contour perfectly. And this on Cloud 10 Beauty would be, how much would this be? £7, so not that much. And then a kind of more easily accessible one is the Real Techniques. These are about £7.99, but I'm not sure if you can buy these individually or if you have to buy them in a set. I'm seeing conflicting things online. This one's like special edition, limited edition. This one's the normal one. These are great for powder and cream contour. This is what I will always use to blend out cream contour. If I ever do that, you'll see me use this brush. But I do like it for powder as well. I just definitely prefer this brush. That's actually all the face brushes. Like I said, everything will be listed below, and hopefully you'll see like pictures on the screen if the brush is a bit closer up. Now for eye brushes, initially I put in my pot of brushes I cannot live without all of these brushes, so all of these for my eyes. And then I was like, okay Melissa, you need to whittle this down and you need to say which brushes you actually can't live without. And these are the ones I've picked. So the larger bundle I love and will stand by forever, but these are the ones I need. I could do any eye look with these. This, however, does include my like concealer brush, so the Real Techniques setting brush. This is about $7.99 or $6.99. This is what I'll use if I put like the P. Louise base on, or concealer all over my eyelid. This is what I'll use to pat it out and make a really lovely blank canvas for going in with my shadows. So I will always use this brush. This brush is invaluable to me for putting on my like base for my eyeshadow. And then I have, in terms of blending brushes, so my two bigger blending brushes, the Nima Jenny brush. This is, I mean, do I need to like turn my contrast down or something? Let me see. So I need to be able to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, this is the Nima Jenny brush. It's quite a fat, pretty dense, but very, very, very soft, big, fluffy brush. This fits in the crease like a dream. This will blend out any eyeshadow, and it's often the last brush I go in with just to get rid of any harsh edges around my eyeshadow. It's an incredible brush. This is, let me just double check on my notes, 13 euros. Nima, again, is a Irish brand. They are on Beauty Bay, but I don't know if they're still on Beauty Bay because they seem to be out of stock a lot. So yeah, you need to get this from Ireland basically. But this is a brush I genuinely cannot live without now. It is incredible. The other blending brush that I have used pretty much every day since I got it is the ABH A25, which is a slightly smaller blending brush. This is pretty expensive. This is £24, but this is a brush I would save in a house fire. I would recommend it to anyone. This is now about 3 years old, and it has kept its shape perfectly, its softness perfectly. It's a great brush, and would recommend. So the two biggest blending brushes are these that I can't live without. I do want to give a very, very special mention to the, is this it here? No, let me quickly find it. I do want to give a very special mention to the Zoeva 228, of which I have 3, because I think these are really great brushes as well. These are, I don't think I wrote it down because this is when I was being brutal and trying to cull my brushes. These are, I think, £8 or £9 each. Would highly recommend these as well. If you can't get your hands on, and do you know what, they're actually a lot easier to get in the UK. So if you can't get your hands on these two, get a Zoeva 228. They're incredible. Kind of similar shape to the Nima, but slightly bigger. And I would, yeah, really recommend them, obviously. But also a special shout out to the Zoeva 227. Again, I have 2 of them. These, oh, they're just incredible as well. I can't live without these. No, do you know what? I'm going back on my word. I cannot live without the Zoeva 228 or the Zoeva 227 either. I have to include them. They're both incredible brushes, around £7 to £9 each. Very worthwhile investment. Get them. Okay, moving on to much smaller, kind of more detailed blending brushes. 2 Morphe brushes, the Morphe M506 and the Morphe M514. Like I said, everything's listed below, so don't worry if you can't keep up with me. I'm just trying to film this before I crash. These 2 brushes are incredible. They are perfect for smaller blending work. So the M506 is this really little brush. Let it focus. I will use this a lot when I'm having trouble blending out a deeper color. I will use this super softly just to blend it out. It works every time. This is one of the best brushes I've ever used in my entire life. It's £7. Nikki Tutorials is the one that spoke about this and recommended it, and that's why I bought it. Please buy it. You will not regret it. And then the Morphe M514. This is a slightly bigger, more tulip shaped brush, smaller than the Zoeva 228, but just as good. I think this is just better than the 228 for more detail, so I'll use it often on the outer corner if I'm struggling to blend out a deep shade as well. And also this fits under the lash line really nicely for if you want like quite a smoked out lower lash line look. This brush is worth its weight in gold as well. Quite often I will pack on colours through my crease. How often do I start by saying so? I'm packing on outer corner to inner corner, and my favourite brush for that is the Zoeva 234. This brush is £9. It's a flat brush. Again, hopefully you're seeing pictures on screen. It's a flat packing brush, so it just picks up a lot of colour. It's really dense and just deposits it so well down, especially on top of a tacky base. Great brush, £9. well worth the investment. I think though you're going to find a set of Zoeva brushes that probably have, where is that other one? All of these Zoeva brushes that I've mentioned are probably come in one set. I will try and find the closest set because it will be better value, and I'll link it below. Then for eyebrows and also winged eyeliner, the Zoeva 317 wing liner brush. I have two because I use this one for my eyebrows and I use this one for gel liner. These are, I don't think they're too expensive. £8. Don't know why I couldn't see it on there. These are £8 each. Well worth it. These are the skinniest, thinnest, tiniest, neatest little angled brushes you will come across. And when you put product on them, it's like when you put your dip brow, when you dip it into your dip brow, they get even thinner and more precise. You can do super, super defined little hair-like strokes in your brows. And also when you put it into like gel eyeliner, you can do the thinnest, most precise liner. These are incredible brushes, would highly recommend. This next one is how I do my cut creases. So I use the Blank Canvas E28, which is this tiny little pencil brush. And then to fill it in my cut crease, I will always use my Blank Canvas E27, which is this tiny, tiny, tiny little flat brush. If I compare it, for example, to like a normal like flat brush, that is the size difference. It's super, super small. The cool thing about this is actually these are currently on Beauty Bay for £4.25 for both of these brushes, but it's a double-ended brush. But this to me is the secret to doing a really, really incredible cut crease. So I'll use this pointed side in concealer and I'll carve out my cut crease. And then I will take this side and I'll fill in all the rest of the concealer. I'll wipe it off and then I'll pack on the colour that I want to use. So right now on Beauty Bay, £4.25 for both of these brushes, but it's a double-ended brush, so if you know what I mean, so it's more like that, you know. It's one brush, but it's double-ended. My battery's about to run out. That is all of my favourite brushes. Everything will be linked below. I hope you found this helpful. I have many more brushes in my collection that I love, that I use regularly. I just want to try and show you. These are my other brushes that I use often daily, but the ones that I've spoken about today are the ones that I genuinely cannot live without. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know down below if there's any brushes missing in my life and if you're going to pick up any of the ones that I've mentioned. Everything is linked below. My voice is going, my battery is dying, I need a new hot water bottle. My life is a mess. My channel is just going. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope I'll see you in my next one. Bye!